Pardon me, are we learning lessons from all of these things that are going on? Because, I mean, this same country, we've got fantastic brains in different countries that are pulling the strings, holding those countries and supporting them to a great extent. So are we learning? I mean, look at how much we spent on putting satellites up there. We can't use them to provide imagery. Yeah. We have engineers, top scientists in this country. Are we utilizing them?
No, sadly enough, Chamberlain, we are not learning. That is very sad, because you see, we are talking about, if you want to learn, for instance, you have to be frugal. You are frugal with the way you spend money, and you spend the money transparently. Let people know that you are doing something. For instance, this one we're talking about now, the person that took the money to this thing is questionable. Now, we begin to talk about, look at last year, for instance, Nigerian delegation to the United Nations was the largest. And yet we are told that 80% of the delegation did not contribute. They did not even add value to UN whatever. Some of them did not. They were not even allowed to enter. If you know how United Nations is configured. So you understand what I'm saying? But that large amount of money was spent. A lot of people went there on Jamboree. That's why we've been spending our money. That's why the international community does not respect us. It's so simple. It is only when you take yourself serious and you are seen to be serious, doing something positive, that people will take it like that. The way we are carrying on, the way we spend money, the way we use proxies here and there to filter our money away, these people know all these things and they know we are not serious. That is just the problem.
Mr. Adegbulu, you know what? I want us to focus on cleaning up the mess. Because Mr. Benite admitted it's embarrassing. You're also saying it is also very embarrassing. How do we begin to, send the outsiders away and deal with, the corrective measures in-house, so to speak?
First of all, we have to give kudos to the military for what they are doing right now, because it's like, since the Boko Haram elements have, a kind of changed the game by trying to focus on capturing certain areas. It's like now bringing the whole warfare to the, to the doormouth of the military. That's the conventional military tactics that they know how to do best. When Boko Haram now decided to now domicile in a place by capturing, so they are being decimated. But the fact remains that the people are still very much around. Okay, the death of one person is not a detriment to, so it's not, it does not show deterrence, to others at all. The military are very, very, very much on their game now. I've been saying that if there is the right political will to do this thing, they will be wiped out immediately. So that political will is what we still really want to preach.
Yeah, but won't that political will be strengthened with arms?
Obviously, why not?
So if we don't have them, how do you deploy? If you deploy the will,
we are not saying that Nigerians should not procure arms for God's sake. It is the means of procuring this arm everybody, so many people are quarreling with.
No. From what we've seen now, they give us the impression that we're in dire straits. Now, if the country is blocking us from getting these arms, we can't get the arms. And on the other hand, the insurgents are getting arms, and then some people see how arms come into this country, how they are being armed.
How are the arms coming to the country? Are we now saying that there are other countries who are actually supporting insurgency against Nigeria? Have we identified such countries? What measures have we taken against such countries? No, are we saying that we know the people who are supplying Boko Haram arms? Why haven't we blocked the avenue? What have we, through what means, through what avenues are these arms coming in that we cannot block? These are issues. But nobody is saying that Nigeria should not procure arms to defend itself. Nobody is saying that. But the means, you agree with me that the means of procuring the arm is the problem. You don't want to correct one problem by creating another. You flout our law here, flout their laws there. Of course, you have blown everything open. That will not even make other countries to even sympathize with our cause.
A lot of people are saying that South Africa should never have let this come out in the open. I mean, we could have sorted it out as brother nations, couldn't we, or sister nations, if you prefer. At the moment we admitted this was our money, they know that, as you rightly pointed out, that countries engage in black operations, and oftentimes, they want to keep this thing on the down low for all the relationship that we have.
Yes.
Don't you think that?
Thank you very much, Mark. I want to bring out two things here. Don't forget that South Africa is in Africa. Nigeria is being called Giant of Africa. There is this rivalry that you may not know. I mean, it's palpable. It's there. at any opportunity, they want to play this out to downgrade or denigrate Nigeria, whatever Nigeria stands for. You call yourself giant of Africa, we are doing this. That's number one. Number two is the image we have outside. Our image outside, to say the least, is something that you cannot be proud of. As a result of that, anything that comes from Nigeria that attracts any suspicion will be blown up. Will be blown up. Because it's not unlikely that it's just one of those Nigerians we have been apprehending almost on a daily basis at the airport, carrying one illegal thing or the other. This might not be unconnected with the same things we are used to. So let's call the press and allow them and say, oh, this is what we have caught again. It's not unlikely. I'm just saying it's not unlikely. Our image abroad matters a lot, apart from the rivalry between the two countries.
Because you have a
so
point,
they would have been able to play it down, but that image is not helping them out.
Not trying to play anything down now, or trying to cover up any legal thing here, but you are also an international affairs expert. But we're trying to look at it critically, knowing full well that the people on that particular aircraft were not diplomats.
Okay.
So since they're not diplomats, do you expect the South African authorities to place a call to the Nigerian government?
Normally, that is the diplomatic. That's normal in diplomacy. They should have done that.
Even when they're not diplomats?
If they sense something like that is coming to their country, of course, they should alert our High Commission in South Africa. We sense something like that. But in the interim, of course, I disagree. I disagree with the gentleman who said there were no members of the press in the airport. There are aviation correspondents everywhere. In fact, they are everywhere, who will easily be alerted that Nigerian this thing will suspect something. The moment they suspect that thing, the people will, the paparazzi will be going up and down to see what is happening.
Maybe I should put it properly. You didn't get me. Since these individuals who were on that particular aircraft were not diplomats, you don't expect the South Africans to first place a call to the Nigerian government or to our ambassadors before talking to the press.
Okay, I get you now. They don't have any diplomatic immunity. If they have any emblem or any semblance of Nigerianness in them, of course, we will know you have all the diplomacy, all the diplomatic paraphernalia that will make. In fact, where they will even land is different from. You understand what I'm saying? That one will show that okay, these are representative of Nigerian government. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because they do not have anything of such. They are just like any Nigerian passenger coming from Nigeria to Joburg, for God's sake. And that's exactly what happened. So I disagree with somebody who is saying that the South African government did not act well. These are just ordinary Nigerians. Okay, they didn't put anything that shows that they are representing President Jonathan or Nigeria.
It could as well be that the South African authorities thought they were helping us nab some people who were taking our monies out.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And what they describe as black ops?
Okay, if it was black ops or something, if it is something that government here has sanctioned, they will also alert South African government that something like this is coming. We thank you so far. You've been helping us in fighting insurgency. What is coming out is part of, okay? Then South African government, before they land at the airport at all, they would have connected and, in fact, ordinary people will not even see the people with the briefcases.
What about
South Africa? Is government to government. But because these people did not go there to represent government, they went there on individual basis. Of course, the South African government is justified under any law to take any action.
What about the subsequent commentary that we heard when Nigerian government reportedly admitted to them that, yes, we're involved in this. And then the commentary that was reportedly credited to South Africa was that the Nigerian government explanation does not hold water. What do you make of that?
But that's exactly what I'm saying. If the Nigerian government...
if it had been from one diplomatic country to another, based on maybe the principle of diplomacy.
Yeah.
So should they have made that comment?
They would have packaged everything in diplomatic tools. They would have, in fact, before they left Nigeria at all, the South African government would have been expecting them. There wouldn't have been any need to make any statement at all. But because the whole thing was shrouded in obscurity, so nobody knew anything, thinking that they could beat the security apparatus of South Africa. That's the problem. It was an afterthought. for even Nigerian government to now make statement. It was an afterthought. If something was official, ab initio, they would have made the statement here to the extent that your people, your representative will not be embarrassed, knowing the illegality of the deal.
Well, we all know, I mean, we've been told how black ops go. I mean, usually very few people are involved in it. Maybe South Africa should have been involved in this ab initio, but then they were not sure whose side they would be playing on and whether this would be convenient for them to play up, considering the rivalry between both countries.
Yeah.
But then again, we're looking at, you know, it has happened. As they would say, it has happened, it has happened. Let's clean up the mess. What exactly should we be doing?
Is that diplomacy? I know by now there have been short-term diplomacy here and there. That is what should be stepped up. Now, for Nigeria to let, since they have owned up that this money actually belonged to them, actually we meant it to be like this, but unfortunately, we are sorry. I mean, nothing stopping the government from saying we are sorry. It's very simple but heavy. Some people don't know how to say we are sorry. You should be able to own up when you are wrong. So it is obvious now, having flouted our laws here, we will understand. If the money is actually meant for the arm, we will understand.
Well, looking in-house.
Yes.
Looking in-house in terms of how the National Assembly has dealt with it. Are we showing understanding?
That is the mark where if you see some opposition trying to kick against the whole deal, don't blame them. It is because everything here is shrouded in secrecy. And it is also because people don't trust the government. Otherwise, how could somebody say, okay, I'm procuring this arm in order to solve the problem that we all know, we all have been fighting to curb? Nobody will kick against it. But because people do not trust the government, that this money is actually meant for the procurement of arms, that is the problem. And that is the problem of understanding at the National Assembly. If they understand and they are convinced that this money is actually meant for that purpose, I bet you nobody will kick against it. Nigerians, we love the country.
Do you think
everybody irrespective of the party?
You think this can be cleaned up?
It can be cleaned up. All we are calling for is more transparency on the part of the government. Honesty. So let it not be that tomorrow some people will find out that this whole deal just like another 20 billion NNPC, whatever. We have so many cases now that we cannot even be counting. They are too numerous that have been swept under the carpet. Let it not be that this one is one of such scandals.
Okay.
Otherwise, nobody will trust the government. And so that's why the opposition is doing all this. It's not as if opposition does not this thing to be cleaned up.
But we know that countries, even the
election is 2015.
Even the best of countries lie to their nationals. They lie to themselves. Lie
Eventually,
to the international
they
community.
apologize.
So
when they know that this lie is so apparent, they have no hiding place. They swallow their pride.
Yeah, but for the government to have admitted that yes, we are involved in this one,
they have not apologized to Nigerians. For instance, for flouting our law. The law represents Nigeria, not individual.
All right, Dr. Femi Adegbulu, thank you for coming on this morning. We'll be back after this. We'll have another matter coming up here on Sunrise Daily. Join us again.